Now, if you're struggling with self-sabotage and you don't know where to start, here, right here on this podcast, we're building the community. I want to remind you, breaking self-sabotage patterns takes time. You've been operating like this for years, every decade, like I was. Be patient with yourself. Celebrate the small wins. We're building a community of people committed to breaking these cycles. Welcome, everyone. This is Terror to Triumph. I'm Alfonso Pelton. With me is my co-host Storm. Hey, Storm, how you doing?
I'm fine. How you doing?
I am a little bit congested right now.
Um,
For that storm hit us, we got below sub temperatures last night when I went to work. So my nose, head is all congested, and it's still freezing below zero temperatures right now. So
wow.
as you can see, I'm in the studio and I'm bundled up. So I ask everybody to please forgive me when I'm trying to keep warm while we still continue in this work because the work is very important.
Yes,
Okay, today we're talking about the conversation, what to say in your first therapy session. Okay,
yes,
again, welcome to everybody who does not know this is Dare to Triumph. We are a community of childhood abuse survivors. Both Storm and I have survived childhood abuses. Now, I say that because it's plural, more than one. And we decided to make this show so that we can reach out to other people who are suffering in silence with the shame and guilt and the regret. And we want to empower you to step out from
yes,
underneath that shadow to reclaim your life, the life that God wanted you to have. And because of therapy, both Storm and I have had an opportunity to look introspectively and see the things that we were doing that we didn't realize that we were doing. So we are sharing those things and what we've learned and researched about therapy and modalities and methods that you could use to help calm yourself in stressful situations and etc. If you notice at the bottom of the screen, there's a ticker tape, and this
yes,
gives you all the pertinent information that you need. If you need immediate help, there are phone numbers down there that you can call 24/7. These are national hotlines that you can call for whatever reason. There's a rape, incest, and that's a national network called RAIN. Then there's domestic violence. We got a child abuse, and we got sexual abuse as well. Also, the suicide and crisis hotline, which is 988. So, without further ado, we're going to start the show. You ready, Storm?
yes, I'm ready.
All right. Okay, so this, we want to say, is a community space. All right. This is not just me and Storm just kicking back off each other. This is a place where you can ask questions. You can make comments. You can tell your story. You can tell your truth. This is a safe zone for you to do that. We encourage each and every one of you to step out and be courageous enough to shake the fear that has gripped you your entire life up until this point. There are some of us who have managed to escape the fear and live productive lives. I encourage you all to come too because I'm sure you have positive stories to tell and give information to those who are still suffering in isolation and silence. So you found a therapist. You scheduled your first appointment, and now you're sitting in the waiting room and you're thinking, what do I even say? Right? So that's what we're talking about today. How do you start this conversation? How do you open up? How do you ask for what you need? Because do you even know what you need? Probably not. But you know you need help. You just don't know how the help is coming. So we're going to show you how to process all this. Here's the thing. Lots of survivors go into the first session and they freeze. Okay? They don't know where to start. They minimize their experience, which is they know what happened, but they don't really want to expound on it. They don't ask for what they need. Okay? Then they leave feeling like the therapist didn't understand them. Well, the truth is, you have to help your therapist understand you. Okay? Therapists are not mind readers. You have to be honest and you have to speak up. Today, Storm and I are walking you through this. Okay? We're giving you the words, we're giving you permission to be honest, even though we don't have to give you permission for that. You have your own permission to be honest. We want you to be courageous enough to be honest so you can get the help that you need because therapists tailor their approach to each individual person. So you have to be direct about what you need and honest about that too. So, Storm, I know you've been through this as I have. What was that first session for you like?
It was crazy. I didn't really know where to begin. Like you said, I didn't know what to say. I knew that I had a lot on my chest that I needed to get out. So it was a crazy first session because I was out over the place because so much had happened in the
Mm,
10 years. Like I said, I waited 10 years to talk about my trauma, but in those 10 years, a whole bunch of traumas had happened. So I was all over the
mm.
place.
I can understand that. In my first session, I was able to tell my therapist about my trauma, and she asked the questions. Now, this is something too. Your therapist, a good one, is going to ask you, what do you want from this? What do you need from this? And I was direct and honest. I said, I want to be free of this fear and anxiety that I have. I want to have a normal life. And the relationships I've been in, both marriages, have failed because I'm dealing with this crap in my head. And I want to get rid of it. I want to have a normal life. And she was very understanding of that. And she started her approach based on those things. So tell me, Storm, in your first therapy session, what did you say? What did you wish that you had said? And were you nervous? How did you find a way to open up?
Like I said, I was jumbled all over the place because I had so many different traumas that she had to slow
Mm,
me down, you know,
okay.
because I was all over the place. Like, I was like, this happened, this was led to this would lead, and I was all over the place to the point she had to say, slow down, stop, we're going to take them one at a time because I was trying to take all my traumas in one session, and that wasn't the way
Mm,
that it was supposed to work, you know. So
mm.
yeah, she had to tell me to slow it down and that we was going to take it trauma by trauma, because she may have not been the person to help with this trauma. Somebody else may come in and help with that other trauma.
Amen. I think about this. When I first went in and I started talking, I didn't go anywhere near, even though I told her that I had some childhood abuses that I had endured, and I told her who was the person. I never went in depth with her yet. I didn't go through the experience of that trauma. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I'm kind of terrified of even bringing that up, and I know it's something I have to go through because I have to face that. But in the meantime, it's yeah, it's scary. Trying to put everything and expose yourself and all that stuff that you got built up inside that you've never told anybody. and you got to share it with a stranger. You know what I'm saying? So it's a very very stressful type situation. I tried to be calm about it, but on the inside, I was like, I was buzzing. So, this is real talk. This is real talk. She was calm through everything I was talking about, and she realized I had a lot of stuff to say, even though I was doling it out like that. She's like, "Well, you got a lot of unpacking to do, and I'm gonna help you with that." And it calmed me down a little bit when she told me that, because I was like, I do have a lot of unpacking. I didn't know I had a lot to unpack. You know what I'm saying? I just knew about the instance. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't know it was a lot more surrounding all that. So yeah, she helped me open up by being calm and talking to me in a calm and peaceful manner. Over to you, Storm.
Yes. All righty. So let's get into this. Tell us about your first derby session. What did you say? What did you wish you said? Were your nerves? What what did you open up with? So we're gonna walk you through before you walk in. Okay, so before you even sit down with your therapist, there is some prep work. And I'm not talking about writing a script or any formula. I'm talking about getting clear on what you need. Think about why you there. What prompted you to be
Mm-hmm.
there? You know, what happened in your life that made you say, I need help? Is it your
Mm,
relationships are suffering? You're having nightmares. You can't
mm,
concentrate. You're self-sabotaging. You're having panic attacks. You're isolating yourself. Get clear on that because when your therapist asks what brings you in today, you have an answer.
uh-huh.
Write it down if it helps. Some people find it helpful to jot down a few bullet points before the session, not a script. We're not asking you to script nothing, fam. We're just asking you to go in with a clear state of mind and know what it is that prompted you to want to reach out for help in the first place
Right.
and be clear, about it. Just remind us of what you want to talk about. You can even bring the paper with you because that's what you're supposed to do. Because this is where you're gonna get clear and precise help. This is where you are supposed to open up and you supposed to open up the wound, but the wound is supposed to heal.
Mm,
There's no shame in that. Your therapist will respect it. Give yourself permission to be nervous. You're going to be nervous. It's a stranger,
mm.
someone you don't
Yep.
know. So you're going to be nervous. You're about to open up to
Absolutely.
a stranger about the hardest thing that you experience. Of course, you're nervous. That's normal. That's human. Remember, you're in control. So always remember, you are in control, not the
Yes.
therapist. You're in control. You can stop at any moment and say, I can't go no further. You can be halfway through. You can say, okay, I'm gonna talk about it today. And you can be halfway through. Guess what? She not gonna tell you, oh, finish it. She's gonna say, okay, we'll see you tomorrow or we'll see you next session. Because that's as far as you could get because you just shut down and you will shut
Mm,
down. It's normal. It's normal to shut down because it's an emotional wound you're starting to remember again.
right.
So,
Reliving that experience.
what would you tell someone who is nervous about that first session? How do you calm? How do you calm your nervous system before walking in?
Ooh. I didn't do any of the steps. I ain't gonna lie. I didn't know any calming techniques or anything of that nature before I walked in. Well, actually, we do teleconferencing through Zoom. So that first session was very daunting. I didn't know what to expect, and I was just kind of like there. I didn't know what to expect, but she knew. It was like she knew. She knew I was nervous. She knew, and when she started talking to me, I was rambling on. I was talking. And it was like I was just talking because I just wanted to have something to say, even though if it wasn't the trauma situation, I wanted to seem normal, if that makes sense to you. So I wanted her to think I was normal, but she knew, she saw through that. And she was like, okay, I can help you with your situation. And I deal with trauma, childhood trauma patients. And she's a master therapist. I did not know she was a master therapist. I looked her up recently and I found that out. I just knew that she was trauma specialist. That was her specialty. I didn't know she was a master therapist. So that's why she is so doggone good. And I understand that now. But as far as calming myself, I kept playing it in my head, at least. I was like, well, I got to talk to this lady in the morning. I don't know what's going to happen. I got to talk to this lady in the morning. I said, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to say. I don't know how it's going to go down, but I know I got to go through it. So I kind of made peace with the fact that it was going to happen. So that,
Yes.
droning that into my own head, kind of helped me face that situation. We're going to go into the next segment, and that is you find yourself sitting across from your therapist, right? And they ask, what brings you in today? That sounds so generic, right? But doesn't that give you chills down your spine when you think about it? Because that's the opening question to all the mess that you coming in with. So it gave me chills when she asked me that. What brings you in today? Why are we here talking? So this is the moment. This is what you can say. You can be direct and say, I'm here because I've experienced trauma. I'm struggling with whatever your specific thing is, and I want help processing it and learning how to move forward. Okay? Simple statement, right? Or you could go a little bit broader than that, and you could say, excuse me, runny nose, y'all. I apologize about that. You could say, I've been dealing with some stuff from my past, and it's affecting my life now. I'm not sure where to stop, but I know I need help. I'm not sure where to start, rather, but I know I need help. And then you have the third option, which is being honest. All of these are being honest, actually, but you can just come out and say, hey, I'm nervous about this. I don't know exactly what to say, but I know something isn't right with me, and I'm coming to you to find out what that is. I need support. All of these are good. All of these are honest. Okay? Here's what matters. You don't need the perfect words, right? Okay, you just need to be yourself. You need to be real. You need to be upfront and come out with exactly what you need. You can't be beating around the bush with this. Your therapist has heard it all. Believe it or not, it's your first time coming in, but it's not their first rodeo. They've had thousands of patients probably before you step through that door or on video. So you have to ask yourself, if I BS now, is that going to help me? Because she's going to see through it. And if you BS enough, what's wrong, therapists, they can be like, well, I'm not going to deal with you because you're not ready. You're not ready. You're not ready to be open. You're not ready to be honest. And I can't help you if you're not either one of those. So it's important. It's so important to be honest and direct about what's going on with you. If you freeze, which is common, or with me, I disconnect from the moment. Like, I'll be talking to somebody and then my eyes will just drift off and I'll be looking into space. And then she'll have to say, hey, where were you at just now? What happened? And then I come back to him like, whoa, what you talking about? I didn't realize I was disconnected. It was like the trauma of what happened was so impactful to me that I disassociated myself in the moment. I didn't want to talk about it. So if you freeze or if that happens, that's okay too. They know how to work with that. You can say, I'm nervous. I'm not sure where to start. I'm scared. It's honest to be upfront about your feelings. They're here to help you with that. Your therapist will help. Excuse me. They'll ask the questions, you'll answer the questions, and they'll help guide you. Don't minimize your experience. I'm shaking a snot rag at you because I don't want you to minimize the experience. I want y'all to get the help you need. Don't play with this, okay? I'm sorry, I was acting a little bit out of turn there, but it's so serious. This step is so serious. It sets the whole tone for the relationship between you and your therapist. If you don't do this right and you start BSing, if you got a bold therapist, excuse me, if you got a bold therapist, what if they just want your money? Okay, come in, BS. I don't care. I'm getting paid. What if you got somebody like that? They getting paid from your insurance. They don't care. You come in and BS. They just want the money. You paying them. Your insurance company paying them. So come in and BS if you want, but you're not getting the help you need. And you're gonna be stuck in this cycle because you BS. So don't do it. Okay? Okay, I'm done whooping y'all right now. So you don't need perfect words. You just need to be real. Your therapist has heard it all before. They're not judging you. They're listening. They're actively listening to what you say. And guess what? They're not just listening. They're actually cataloging everything you say. And you know what that does? That keeps you honest with yourself. You can't BS a person that's holding your own words against you. They gonna hold you accountable to what you say. And if you BS it, it's gonna come out. You can play with it all you want. If you BS it, it's gonna come out. So if you sit there and can't speak, it's okay. Nobody's saying you gotta, oh, blah, 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 this happened. Oh. Nobody's saying that. What we're saying is, you can say, I'm nervous. I'm not sure where to start. This is all new to me. I'm kind of scared. I can feel myself tensing up. My heart is racing faster, and I don't know how to handle this. She gonna break it down and calm you, and then walk you through it in a patient, slow manner. That's what they do. Your therapist will help you. A lot of survivors say things like, "It's not that bad." Heard that before? Or other people had it worse than me. Or I should be over this by now. Don't do that. Don't do that. Your experience is valid. Okay? Your pain is real. Okay? You deserve to be there. You are there not for them, not for me, not for your family, not for your cousins, not for your parents, not for your wife. You there for you. Can't nobody else help you through this except your therapist. Now, if your wife is a trained trauma therapist, maybe, but she's not supposed to because you're family. So you need somebody who's impartial. So you got to go to somebody outside of that family realm or friendship zone. Okay. So your pain is real and you deserve to be there. Be honest about what you need. If you go or if you need to go slow, say it. If you need breaks, say it. If you need to explain something, say that. Your therapist will help you and make you feel safe in the zone that y'all are creating. Okay? So, excuse me. Storm, what did you say in your first session at? How did you open up? How would you tell somebody who's afraid to be honest? What would
It
you tell
was
them, rather?
well, is you gonna be nervous? Because I was when I called, because this is a total complete stranger. This is somebody you don't know. And I had a phone session, so I didn't really have to see the person face to face, which would kind of like calm some of the fears down. But I still
Mm.
was nervous because you still talking to a total complete stranger that's on the other end of the line that you don't know. Because at the time that I did therapy sessions, I'm sorry, y'all, but it wasn't no video recordings and stuff like that. So
See?
it was either it was phones or you going in person. So you had no other choice. You had to go. But like I said, I had a million things to say until she said stop, you know?
Mm.
And she slowed me down. And so she said, what do you want to open up about? And so I broke down about the first time something happened to me, which was in the
Mm.
10th grade. And I broke down how it happened. I went, on my first session, I did kind of like just went there because I felt like that I needed to, get it out of my system, because I had been holding it for 10 years and I never
Mm.
talked about it. I never went through the whole scenario. I made it say, oh, something happened, but I didn't tell the story. I never
That's what
told
I'm
the
saying.
story. So this
Yeah.
time I told the full complete story from the beginning, how how it started to how it got where it was.
Mm.
And it was hurtful because I took her on a journey how it got there because the guy had already been stalking me. So, but I
Whoa.
didn't know that I was going to be in this situation where I was going to be raped. So he was stalking
Mm.
me. And so I explained everything. I went through the whole, from the beginning to the day that it happened, and how it happened. So yeah, it was hurtful once, you have to go through it. And even when I talk about it on my live stream and someone asked me to explain it, yes, it still hurts to this day because you're reliving it all over again as you talk about it, but it get easier.
Yeah.
I ain't say that you'll be over it. I just say it gets easier for you to have that talk, but you're going to always remember. It's always going to be
Mm.
here, and it's going to be things that's going to remind you,
Trigger.
or
Yeah.
trigger you. So you're never going to be over it, family. But when I say that you can get through it, it's easier as you talk, as you tell your story, it's easy.
Mm. Okay, we're moving on to segment three. Thank you for sharing that, Storm. I appreciate you for that.
Yeah. So we talking about your trauma. Okay,
Mm.
you're opened up. Now your therapist might ask you about your trauma. And
Why you
this
talking
is
about
where
my
a
trauma?
lot of
Okay.
people this is where a lot of people get stuck. You don't have to tell the whole story in the first session. Not like I
Mm-hmm.
did. I just felt comfortable enough because I wasn't face to face people. I was over the phone. So I felt a
Right.
bit comfortable. Seriously, your therapist don't expect you to recount every detail of what happened. That's not what the first session is for. You can
Okay.
say I experienced trauma and I'm not ready to go into details yet, but I want to work toward processing it. That's
Mm.
enough. You can
Yeah.
start with the impact, not the event. Instead of
Mm-hmm.
describing what happened, describe how it affecting you now. Because these are things, people that we didn't know about, that I didn't know about. And I didn't have to go into the full details, but I felt, a little comfortable, a little at ease because now I was getting a lot off my chest plate that I was holding for 10 years.
Right.
So instead of describing what happened, describe how it's affecting you now. I have nightmares, something I did. I can't trust people, and I didn't trust everybody, and I had trust issues. I push people away when they get close. I have panic attacks in certain situations. I feel numb all the time. This gives your therapist information without you having to relive the trauma. If you
Mm.
start to share and get overwhelmed, pause. You can say, stop. I need to stop for a moment. Or this is harder than I thought. or can we slow down? Because you don't have
Hmm.
to write. It's your trauma, and you had a lot to write. And if you had a right trauma therapist, then they'll be like, "Okay, baby, we'll come back on the next session.
Mm.
If you feel comfortable, we'll start all over again." Because the trauma therapist is supposed to help you get through this, not push you. So if they're pushing you, then they're not the trauma therapist for you. So your therapist will respect that. They want you to feel safe. It's okay to cry. Oh yeah, because I cried. You know,
Mm.
if you get emotional, that's not a signal that you're doing wrong. That's a signal that you're being real. Let it happen. Ask for what you need. If you need tissue, ask. If you need some water, ask. If you need to take a break, ask. Your therapist wants to support you. So remember, ask, because my first session and when I got ready to tell this story, yes, I broke down in tears because I just didn't never expect it to happen to me, you know,
Mm.
but it did. And, how do you know when you are ready to go deeper into your trauma story? What helps you feel safe enough to open up?
Dialogue. Continued dialogue. Feeling that you can open up slowly and talk about things that are very personal to you helps to get to that point where you can talk about the trauma which you're really there for. So you don't have to jump in at both feet at the same time. You can just dip your pinky toe in the water. You can just go a little bit at a time. You don't have to just cannonball it. You can just, dip your feet in the water at the edge of the pool and let yourself get comfortable to the temperature and then slowly inch yourself in until you finally are submerged. But uh, when you start to get that level of comfort and safety, that's how you know you can take it up a little bit more. You can go a little bit deeper. Your therapist at that point is not sharing your information. They're not judging you. They're not being harsh to you. They are believing in your story and they are giving you tools to help you. So as you process the stuff that as you go in deeper, that it gives you more awareness about yourself and it gives you more a feeling of comfort that you can say, okay, now it's time I can tell about this part or I can tell about this instance. But yeah, you don't have to go all in. Or as they say, balls out. You don't have to do that. You can just take it one day at a time, one session at a time, talk a little bit about yourself or your situation. So asking for what you need is crucial. You have to ask for what you need. Your therapist is not a mind reader. I said that before. So what do you want to get out of therapy? Be specific. I want to stop having these nightmares. I want to be able to trust people again. I want to have healthy relationships. I want to understand why I do the things I do. I want to stop feeling so anxious. For me, my anxiety is like through the roof, through the freaking roof. Okay. I don't want to cuss on here, but it's like out of 1 to 10, it's like 10,000 for real. I go out these doors out of my safety zone, my home, and I'm walking in these streets. I'm catching the bus, but I'm looking everywhere I'm looking. I'm thinking potential threats everywhere. That's not how you're supposed to be living. I look at everybody like they got something that they're gonna try against me. That's a trust issue. I have that bad. I ain't gonna lie. I got that bad, and it's gonna take somebody who's been through the same type of trauma that I've been through to understand me to that level, to be able to deal with me on that level. But so when I got in there with my therapist, I was telling her that I want to stop feeling like this, heart racing every time I go outside. I'm looking at everybody like they're about to try something. They're about to try to steal something. They're about to rob me. They're about to jump me. They're about to do. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of living like I'm everybody's victim, and I'm not. But that's the trauma talking. So your therapist needs to know what success looks like for you, so they can help you. So tell them about your preferences. Tell them, I want to go slow. I don't want to rush this. And I like when you explain these things to me so I can get a real understanding and a grasp of what you're talking to me about. And I need you to be direct with me. I don't want you to beat around the bush or codify me or, you know, put cotton around me and protect me. I need you to be honest with me. Be upfront. I don't want you to minimize my experience. I don't want you to make it feel lesser than what it was. And I need you to validate the things I'm telling you because they're real. Your pain is real. Excuse me. Your experiences were real and your feelings are real. All that's valid. Your therapist can't read your mind. They can't tell what works for you because they don't know you at this point. So you tell them about your triggers or concerns if you know them, because this is the beginning. You may not know what your triggers are. So you can say, I get triggered when people raise their voice, or I'm worried that you're going to judge me because of what happened, or I'm scared you'll think I'm broken. I'm nervous about talking about the rape or the abuse or the physical assaulting or the mental disparities that I've suffered. I'm nervous about talking about those things. Being transparent builds trust with your therapist, okay? Your therapist will adjust their approach accordingly. So ask about their approach. What modalities do you use? How will we work together? What should I expect? How will we know this thing is working? You're interviewing them as well. This is a partnership. So what's the one thing, Storm, you wished you asked your therapist in the first session?
How many, like how I'm going to get through this, how long would it take me to get through this,
Mm,
I never knew that it was going to be an ongoing process, that my issue would be solved, like I get derpy and, boom, I'm healed, nothing, could affect me anymore. But that wasn't the truth.
mm. Over to you, Storm.
All righty then. What to do after? Okay, so the session is over. You're walking out. Now what?
Uh,
Notice how you feel. Did you feel heard, safe, or even respected? Or did
really?
something feel off?
Hmm.
Trust that feeling. It matters. Don't have
Yes.
to commit right away. Because remember, you can change your therapist. You don't have to just
Mm,
stick with that. If you feel unsafe, if you feel like he or she didn't do their job, you can change therapist. It's never too late. Even in the middle
right.
of the session, it's never too late.
You're there for you.
Trust the Trust the feeling. It matters. You don't have to commit right away. If you're not sure about the therapist, you can say, I need to think about this, or can I schedule another session and see how it goes? You're not allowed to shop around. You're allowed to shop around. So remember, you don't have to
Hmm.
stop shopping. You're allowed to shop around because we have said in other sessions, you have to get the trauma therapist that is for you. There are different
Mm,
traumas, and you have to get the trauma therapist that is for you. So you're allowed to find the right fit. If it felt good, schedule another session. Start building consistency. Healing helps through showing up. Be gentle with yourself afterwards, so don't beat yourself down. Derbies can be emotional. Derby can be emotional. You may feel drained, you may feel relieved, you may feel both. That's normal. Take care of yourself, rest, do something that feels good. And if you're struggling, reach out. If the session brought up hard stuff, you don't have to sit with it alone. Call a friend, text a support line, come back to Terror to Trump. We're here.
That's right.
So, what should someone do if the first session don't feel right? And how do you know if the therapist is the right fit?
Uh, let's say if you don't feel safe, if you feel like they're browbeating you, if you feel like they're looking down at you or they're diminishing what happened to you, if you feel like when you ask them questions, like they're getting upset because you're asking questions, if you feel like they're just cold and calculating, like they're not trying to really understand you, but they're just going textbook to you, you know, if they're not trying to be where you're at, is what I'm trying to say. They're not trying to reach you where you're at. It's time to move on. Okay. That's how you know a therapist doesn't fit. And you know they're not the right fit because you'll feel it. You got to trust your instincts and trust your gut on that. If it doesn't
Yes.
feel right, that's like if you go somewhere and you get this feeling like this person or wherever, whoever it may be, whether this person is giving you an eerie feeling, trust your gut. Get away from that situation, get away from that person. You might be right, you know? So that's how you look into that. So here's what we want you to do, okay? We want you to schedule that appointment. Make an appointment. Find you a therapist, ask the questions, and when you find a therapist that's a trauma supporting, trauma trained, trauma informed therapist, hopefully a master therapist like my therapist, schedule that appointment. If you haven't already, find one, book that first session. That's the first thing you should be doing. First thing, smoking. Okay. The next thing you should be doing is write down your why. Why are you going to them? What is the purpose of you seeking the help that you are trying to find with your therapist? You have to remember also that you're in control. You set the pace. You ask for what you need and you decide if it's a good fit. It's not the other way around. You're not going into a cafeteria only getting what they got set out for you. You are at a fine dining experience and you're asking for what you want. This is the same thing. Your mind is a fine tuned instrument, and you're talking to somebody who's like master mechanic for race car Formula One drivers. They know exactly what you need. They know how to fine tune that engine, and that's what you need. You need somebody to help you fine tune your brain, your nervous system, get you back on track. Okay? So when you be honest, your therapist will be able to help you when you're real. So you have I said it so many times, you have to be honest. There's not a way around this because if you BS, you're only hurting yourself in the long run. So again, you can join us on Tear the Triumph Live on Facebook and YouTube at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can ask us questions, share your experiences, and be a part of the conversation and the community. We're opening up these platforms so we can have dialogue with you guys on both YouTube at Dare to Triumph Live, our YouTube channel. You can go to the live section. When we go live, you can actually put in your questions, comments, statements in the box there, and we can see them and we can respond accordingly. And you can also do that on Facebook when we go live. Okay?
Yes.
Do us a favor. Do us a favor. Share this episode. If this helped you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Over to you, Storm.
You're about to take one of the bravest steps, opening up to a therapist. Ask for help, take courage, and be proud of you.
That's right. Be proud of you. We're proud of you when you take that first step. We're proud of you.
Yes.
Okay. Before we go, remember, Terror to Triumph is supported by Pelts Emporium. Excuse me. When you purchase from Pelts Emporium, anything except for Crystal's Corner, the proceeds go directly to supporting this podcast so we can continue these conversations. Head on over to www.pelts with a S, Pelts Emporium, and shop and support us. And while you're there, watch us live on Terror to Triumph Live on Facebook and on YouTube. You can comment, ask questions, and be a part of the conversation. Remember, the motto for Pelts Emporium is we are all beautiful. We are all beautiful. And that goes for each and every one of you. Okay? Storm?
Yes, next Saturday we're talking about something powerful. What happens when your therapist says something that triggers you? How do you
Ooh,
handle it? How do you communicate
ooh.
about it? We'll see you then.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's going to be powerful. That's going to be powerful right there. I'm Alfonso Pelt. This is Storm. Thank you for being here watching Terror to Triumph. We're downloading Terror to Triumph. You can catch us on most major broadcast podcast platforms and on TikTok clips we have posted on TikTok and also on our channel, YouTube channel at Terror to Triumph Live and on Buzzsprout at terrortotriumph.buzzsprout.com. That's a mouthful. Okay. Tuesdays and Saturdays, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Terror to Triumph Live. Keep moving forward. And remember, help is closer than you think.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us. Oh, Storm, would you like to talk about your platform?
Okay, you can catch me on TikTok at Diamanda, and that's DI apostrophe AMONDA, and that's at TikTok. And I talk about self care. I talk about, trauma too. On that, I talk about domestic violence and sexual assault. And I tell you about human trafficking. I also, at the beginning of my life, I stretch out the muscles. So we got to get physically fit. So no matter how old you is or how young you is, it's time to get up and stretch the body down, because when you exercise, you can stretch down, you can stress down. It can de-stress you. So remember that, fam. Catch me at TikTok at Diamanda. That's DI apostrophe capital AMONDA. Thank you.
Awesome, awesome. Okay. Thank you for joining us again for the second time. And we will see you Tuesday for our live Q&A,
Okay.
10:30 a.m.